Let's talk.
Giles Brown.
Dare to Dream. How at 70 I ran the marathon in under 3 hours. It's an inspiring memoir of Mike Sheridan, a UK and world record breaker in long distance running with a unique approach to the marathon. For Mike, age is just a number and anything is possible for the older athlete. I'm delighted to say that he's written the book, which is called Dare to Dream. He's written it with Brian Gardner, and I'm delighted to say that both gentlemen join me live online, probably from just donning their tracksuits. Going to put a quick 20k in or something like that. So, gentlemen, good morning to you from Spain.
Good morning.
Good morning, Giles. Thank you for having us.
Pleasure is all mine. So, Mike, just explain a little bit for people who don't know what these incredible feats are. And is it rude to ask your age if you're over 70? 70 and a half, 70 and 3?
It's not old. It's not rude. I'm actually 76 and a half.
Right.
And I found out literally 2 weeks ago. Otherwise, it would have been in the book. I'm an official great-grandfather.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Mike.
Which I didn't know about. How did it all start? Well, it started when I was at school. I was a runner at school. I got into county level. And in that particular race, the British Schoolboys Championship, I got spiked within about the first 200 meters. We all got squashed up. It was a complete accident. But that put me off running completely. I just thought, not doing that again. And I played hockey. I played squash. Fast forward to 2010, my second son, Neil, living in Luxembourg, phoned me up and said, "Hey, Dad, do you want to do a half marathon with me?" This was June. I just stopped mountain biking because I found that became too dangerous. And I thought, okay, well, when is it? June. He said it was September. September in Luxembourg is beautiful. So I got out, pair of shoes, started running. Had a fantastic weekend down there. I think I ran 1 hour 40 and beat my son. He wasn't very pleased about that. But I thought, wow, that's really interesting. I really enjoyed that exercise and got back home, and I just basically kept running, kept training.
Because I read that you lived in Kenya as a child. Now, even I, unless something's chasing me, I do not run. So even I know that Kenya and that particular part of Africa produced some of the greatest sort of middle and long distance runners of all time. So was that the thing, as we'd say now, Mike? I mean, was that what was happening?
I was aged something like 3 to 8, maybe 9 years of age when I was there. But the thing is, though, we were always buzzing around outside because you had the weather and the conditions. But when we came back to the UK, I was taken to the nearest primary school and told to try these football boots and start running. And I just ran forever. I was so fit. I literally could run one end of the field and back down to the other. And none of the other kids could get near me. And I thought, this is weird. What's happening? And it obviously, because I had 5 years in Kenya, but it gave me the thought then that I can run. And so there were no boundaries. I'm not too fat. I'm not too thin. I'm not too tired. I'm none of this. I just run. And so a complete accident, but that's how it was ingrained in me that running is totally normal.
Brian, you're sort of co-author. You're co-author in this, aren't you? You've sort of shaped the story. Is that correct? So how did Mike come into your orbit as well? Because obviously did you know him before? Because you must know him pretty well now because you've basically dissected his life for the book.
We do know each other pretty well now. Yes. I had written a couple of books before, No Cross Country for Old Men and David Sharp's biography.
Sorry, was that No Cross Country for No Old Men?
Yes, it's a good pun.
That's genius. Pun. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for saying that again. After David Sharp book came out, I was looking for a subject for another book and advertised on Facebook. And Mike was the only one who replied. And he said, "Why don't we meet for coffee in a town halfway between our homes and see how it goes?" Well, I like the sound of that. So we met for coffee. I did know his achievements. I also knew that he was a member of Newbury Athletics Club, as I used to be many years ago. And I was just taken in by Mike's enthusiasm and his knowledge and his comprehensive attention to detail. The next time we met was on Zoom, and that started the pattern of at least weekly Zoom meetings where I would interview him. I expect you know a bit about that. And ask him questions. I would record everything that he said and then begin to edit it as I was writing the transcripts, piecing it all together, going back to Mike for missing parts of information, perhaps. It's a bit like doing a jigsaw puzzle. And eventually the whole book came to light, and we compared notes all the time we went along. Unfortunately, we got our publisher, Meyer and Meyer UK, although they're based in Germany, who's done a great job in publishing the book. And for me, the whole experience has been entirely positive, both as an ex-runner and a writer.
Is it a book for sort of the general public? Because I kind of think, again, shows my absolute no knowledge of running. You know, I remember Over and Co, and that's about as far as I go with this one. But
well done.
Well, yeah, it was my joke. That's about all I do, though. But obviously, when you're writing a book about running, because the uninitiated, and I know it's more technical than this, but to actually write about running and tips and when you should, is it when you should go, when you should hold back, what you should do? How do you make that so it's not a technical manual and it's more inspiring for people, because people should be able to get out at the age of whenever. It's just a number. And, you know, just because, I have this thing called, I didn't take the middle age pill, because, I still do crazy things. And I think I'm okay for it. But I see my classmates, from the 80s, and they've all got the onesie and, and the big slipper, and they're watching Strictly Come Dancing, Bake Off on Ice UK or something.
Shall I kick off first, Mike? Do you mind?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Well, there is a lot of running talk in the book. And how do we separate the story from the technical elements? Yeah. Well, there are sections at the back of the book which detail everything about pacing and Mike's record in marathons and other races, his training plans and his tips, as you say, Giles. Although some of that comes up in the story as well. But I think your first question was hinting, would it appeal to non-runners?
That was right.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think that it appeals to older people, although age is not anything that has ever worried Mike, to show what is possible. And also there are parallels between Mike's running story and his career in business. And they follow each other. So the highs and lows of business and running go together, and one complements the other. So I think you get a good overall picture of Mike as a person and how he weaves running into his busy life. Also, it is a good story, and Mike told it extremely well, and I just hope I've done it justice by putting the words onto paper in a way that reads as well as it sounded when he was telling me the story.
Here's the thing, Mike. I'm just thinking, because if you're over 70, running has got marathons were for the, and again, I beg my humble indulgence, but they were for a certain, cross country was something that I was forced to do, and that's so running wasn't cool. Perhaps in the 70s, and then the marathons were something that we were even weird. We couldn't get over that sort of thing, and it was an Olympic event. That was it. And we'd see people come back and looking absolutely shattered into the arena or wherever they'd been. Yeah. And then out of nowhere, it took off, didn't it? It just went boom. And London happened, and suddenly New York, and everywhere's got a marathon, and now we've got Ironmans. It must be really interesting for you, because you've been running for a very long time, to see how it's gone from being not a niche sport, but something that people go, oh yeah, the marathon. To this now it's like the marathon experience, for good or for ill. So, you know, very interesting. And is that sort of something that you reflect on when you're looking at the book and looking at the book itself?
Oh, definitely. Because when I started, let's start again. New York was the first major event ever. And I thought when I finished doing the majors, it grew and grew, as you pointed out. I am going to finish in New York because that's where it all started back in the 80s. But if you think through, as you mentioned, you got the Olympics and all of those guys were running 7 days a week. Then they train for a championship. And what people now don't understand is that they were super fit. They were running probably 6 days a week, every week of the year. And the biggest problem now I find is that 1 million people can apply for London. They'll take 55,000 and probably 50,000 of those won't have put on a pair of running shoes before they get the ticket. And then we get all these injuries. So it's now become a social event and a charity event. And us runners, Brian and myself, are pushed to the front. There might be 3,000 of us. And I'm not trying to be elitist here, but it's the fact, really. There might be 3 or 4, maybe 5,000 old school type runners, and the rest are running with their cameras and their TikToks and so on. So it's completely changed. And I don't focus on those sorts of people. I could certainly help them because I've had so much experience.
Yeah.
But if they want to party, that's fine, as long as they, being a bit rude here, as long as they don't get in my way.
It's a good point, because I was going to say, doesn't that get very annoying for you? Because, and they are the ones who get all the coverage. Well, you train and you're doing it professionally, and there's somebody, and you see them, I mean, you see it on the TV, and they're basically walking the route, because they don't look like they've done any training. They're wearing they've got their bibs and the whole thing. But it should be, it is a serious business. And talking about business, how do you balance your business then, or your business career before, with running? Because was it a way to clear your mind, or I'm not saying
it was both of those things. To answer the first question, when I first started, I was quite disciplined, as in 5:30 would come along, and then I'd think about running. So I go out in the dark. There are some places close to me, about 5 mile drive. It's an old airfield, so I can run around there safely. I don't have to worry about cars. I can put a headlight on, a torch, on my head in the dark and so on. I did that for about the first 5 or 6 years. And then I suddenly thought, wait a minute, I could squeeze in a run at lunchtime. And so slowly, I dropped. Well, and I also shed a whole load of business activities because I am 76.
Yeah.
So I was trying to tick off things. So I was able to clear my diary. And for the last 2 marathons I've run,
You've just been joined by a boogie woogie band, by the way. Is that part of the?
Yeah, no, that's my business partner on cue. I told him not to phone me.
Yes, well, I can hear you on the radio. Yeah.
So basically, the last 2 marathons I've just been running when I feel like I want to run. So I've evolved, if you will.
Brian, you run as well, so you bring that about what he speaks: the pain, the fun, the wall. I had a friend who did a London Marathon. He's very sporty, and he went, "The wall, Giles, the wall." He was in real. So you understand this, so it helps you get inside. It helps you communicate with what Mike goes through. And did you think, well, that's not kind of the way I do it? I mean, I do it in a different way. In the comes to running.
Yes, good point. I did understand where Mike was coming from. I don't run anymore. In fact, I never did run a marathon. It didn't really appeal to me when I was at my peak. But about halfway through writing the book, I turned to Mike and I said, you know what? You've made marathon running sexy. And he does have this unique approach. He talked about the wall just now.
Yeah.
Mike will correct me if I've got this wrong, but I don't think the wall is as big a problem as it used to be because of the super shoes, which give you back energy with your stride, and also gels. But in Mike's case, because of his meticulous approach, So he prepares for a marathon by running at marathon pace, but not all the time. He varies his pace. And when he runs at marathon pace or faster, it's within a longer training run with recovery sections as part of the run. So I don't want to get too technical about it, but that's his unique approach, along with his view that there are no barriers. You can do whatever you want to do if you put your mind to it. How do you see that, Mike?
A couple of points on that. The first thing is I actually try to imagine the marathon as a piece of music. And my favorite is Ravel's Bolero. So if you think of Ravel's Bolero, he starts with about 4 instruments, very low key. The conductor's just nodding and waving a hand, and he's bringing in more. And then there's another section comes in, and a third and a fourth. And by the end, the orchestra is going full blast. They're having the whale of a time. They're all smiling, and the noise and the crescendo at the end is just awesome. So if you can imagine doing that on a run, first 10K, second 10K, third 10K, now go for it, full on. That's how I imagine it.
Brian, you know how you said Mike's made running sexy? If you're of a certain generation and Bolero comes on, there are 2 things you think of. One, the clean one is Torval and Dean, and the other one is Dudley Moore in 10 with Brooke Shields. So that's just, not Brooke Shields, Bo Derek. So that's genius.
And then the other inspiration, I found a quote from Rudyard Kipling, which is actually on the first page of the book. I'll read it. We are the opening verse of the opening page of the chapter of endless possibilities. We are the opening verse of the opening page of the chapter of endless possibilities. Now, if you have that in your mind when you're going for a long, hard run, why would you not be able to complete it? There are no barriers, you see. You could,
this is the thing, isn't it? Because we talk about when you run or any physical activity, the mind's going to play tricks on you. And a lot of, again, and I'm not a runner, but even I know that it's the mindset. Players talk about being in the zone, about they just concentrate so hard they can switch off and perform to their highest peak. So that is totally understandable, and especially because with long distance running, it's not. It's against your opponents, but it's also against yourself. I got a friend who's completely mad, and she does the Marathon de la Sable, the desert thing.
Oh, right.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But it's an individual, and you don't get a lot of people dressed as chickens doing that one, I can assure you. So, deep sea diving gear. Well, it's a bit of fun, but the thing is, it is something that you get very mentally into. Your psyche, you prepare for that as well. It's not just a question of putting on your latest super shoes that recharge, or putting on your hair gel or whatever it was, Brian, and going for it. So
not that kind of gel.
Oh, okay, fair enough. So, but that would be fun as well. So how do you approach it, Mike? How do you get yourself in the zone and the reflection? Yeah.
Yeah, there's another phrase. This guy was a coach of Mo Farah. He worked with Alberto Salazar. You may have heard of. So basically Nike, Steve Magnus, and he has a phrase that I always use when it gets tough or when something appears to be just beyond reach. And his phrase is just over manageable. So I've got a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
I don't think I can do it. And it actually blocked me. I lost a complete week of training one year because I just couldn't get my head around how I was going to do this tough session. And eventually I just thought, just do your best, because let's say you've got to do 6 minutes, you only do 5. The next time you might do 5 minutes 30. So it's just over manageable. It's just beyond reach. And if you hold that in your mind, it opens up your mind to actually then go and do what you need to do.
So, gentlemen, you're used to challenges. You're used to things taking a long time to do, and they require careful planning and endurance and an occasional blast of Bolero. So how was putting this book together then for the pair of you?
Well, it was fun. Yeah. It was fun. I think we were both dedicated to it. We both made time for it because we felt it was important. We both agreed that it was a good story that was well worth reading and sharing. And we were in tune with each other all along. Yeah. I hope Mike agrees with me now.
No, I do. What was good, I think, was that after each marathon, I used to write a report. I'd stick it up on Facebook. And I managed to find quite a few of those, and they became the seed for a particular chapter. So if you notice, they're focused on a particular race on a particular time. And a lot of that documentation, that wording was straight off through my fingers onto the screen days after I'd just done the run. It was fresh and real. So I wasn't writing a story about a 5-year-old marathon, 5 years old. I was rewriting what I felt just days afterwards. And I think that gives it the power, really.
I'm interested as well, because it's a final question for your part. You say that age is just a number. Yeah. The thing is, I agree with that totally. But that's not only should be, I think 50, I don't think age is a number. I'm doing what I want to do, right? I'm still an idiot. But also, age shouldn't be a number for the people who see what we do. In terms of, if you're over 60, you're just doing a charity fun run, or people talk down. You're doing very well for your age. Listen, we understand the aging process. We all go through it, but it shouldn't look so that once you've got over 45, you might as well again be putting on the aforementioned chicken suit or a diver's thing and going for it.
Yeah, it's bizarre. Last Saturday, I went up and we did a park run, which is a 5K thing in the UK. I ran just over 21 minutes. And there are people who walk the same route. That's fine. They're exercising. But I just wonder if they lean forward and just took a few more aggressive steps, whether they'd find what I'll find. It's the mind is controlling so many people in a wrong way here. I think they're capable of so much more. They just believe in it.
What are you hoping that people are going to discover, Brian? I'll let you answer that first, and perhaps learn and be inspired from the book itself. What was when you saw the finished product? Did you think they're sending out this message?
Well, first of all, just to go back on Mike's point and the remarks about people in chicken suits and so on. I think there's a place for everybody. Yeah. And I think physical activity is really important. It used to be my job. And I think to each his own. Do what you enjoy doing. Do something that you will regularly participate in. If you don't enjoy it, do something else. But just keep it going. The audience for this book, I think anyone who ever wanted to improve themselves can take something out of it. I think the readers who will get the most out of it are those who have done at least one marathon and want to see what comes next. And in Mike's case, what comes next was breaking the 3-hour barrier, which is still a magical barrier for runners. And I think those are the people who will get the most out of the book.
Yeah.
Mike, final words for what do you hope that people will take from the book?
Yeah, I agree. And one of the things I'm thinking of doing is mentoring now going forward, so that the people who are stuck, let's say they've done 3 hours 30, they've done 3 hours 15, and as Brian said, they want to go to 3 hours. There's so much. I've learned so much from my journey. I've done 23 marathons or 22 marathons or something. I could possibly help them find their key for their journey. And I think that would be so rewarding for me and for them, obviously. So that's what I'm after. Not run 800 meters today and 600 tomorrow and at that pace. None of that. They can get that off the web for £10 a month.
Sure.
But I can close the gap on the bits that they are missing or haven't realized. It's possible.
The book, is called Dare to Dream, How at 70 I Ran the Marathon Under 3 Hours. It is by Mike Sheridan with the assistance of Brian Gardner. And it's also available by our own virtual bookstore. Go onto the virtual bookstore, click on a picture of Mike in full flow, and it'll be winging its way to you by a well-known South American river delivery firm. If people want to find you online, if you can stay still long enough, the pair is, where can they find you, Mike, first off?
They can find me on WhatsApp, probably the best thing.
Facebook.
Facebook,
yeah.
Facebook, WhatsApp, yeah.
Right.
That's probably the best starting point.
Brian, what about yourself? If somebody else got a story to talk about.
Mike's Facebook account is Mike Sheridan Runs.
Right.
I have one called Brian Gardner Writes, and I'm also on Instagram with the same moniker.
Well, listen, congratulations to both of you on the book. Fascinating stuff indeed. Mike and Brian, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you,
Giles. It's been a present.